Everyone, and welcome to the Nutrition Masterclass. This is going to be Calories 101 as well as your macronutrients. What's covered in this training? Calorie balance, total daily energy expenditure, which is also metabolism, your macronutrients and what those are, protein and calories, in which I'm only going to have you guys track your protein and calories, not your fats and carbs, foods to avoid, which is the 80-20 rule, the fat loss plating system, which is going to be your custom plating system that you're using to lose weight, and as well as having an accountability calendar in which I like to call the success calendar for us to maintain 80% consistency with meeting your daily calorie needs, which leads us into calorie balance. Calorie balance is simply calories in versus calories out. And if you're looking to lose weight, we have to be eating less and drinking less beverages than your total daily energy expenditure. Your total daily energy expenditure is the amount of calories you burn in one single day. And that is going to differentiate between individuals because not every individual is the same. We're all different age, we're working different jobs, we have different activity levels. Some of us have kids, some of us do not. Right? Some of us have crash dieted before. Some of us have not. Some of us are overeating. Some of us are undereating. It all is relative to determine the total daily energy expenditure. So just to say that nutrition has to be custom. For us to lose weight, we have to eat less than what you're burning in a day. And for us to gain weight, we have to eat more than what we're burning in a day. Now, this right here is just some simple math. If you want to figure out your daily calorie needs, just take your body weight, multiply it by 12, and that will give you your daily calories. And just to recap from your MyFitnessPal Masterclass, look at calories like finances. And as long as you're eating the same amount of calories by day 7 in a 7-day week, you will lose weight. In other words, as long as you're spending the same amount of money in 7 days or in a 7-day week, you will lose weight. This is nice because it kind of gives us the peace of mind that if we overeat one day and we undereat the next, we can still figure out how many more dollars we have in a given week. So therefore, we can get back on track and still lose weight. It gives us more flexibility around our plans. The total daily energy expenditure is also known as your metabolism. And simply put, guys, metabolism is made up of these 4 things. And these 4 things will total the amount of calories your specific body burns in a day, which is super key, okay? So let's go ahead and cover them really quick. Your resting metabolic rate. This is essentially the amount of calories your body is burning without any activity. Like if we were to just keep the lights on in your home. Your NEAT, which is super important, guys, which actually can increase with eating more protein, and which is really important, is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is like fidgeting. So for me, I'm always like moving my legs, I'm fidgeting my hands. I'm a little bit more active than someone that is not necessarily a fidgeter. So I would probably have a higher NEAT than that other person. The NEAT equals 10 to 15% of your total daily energy expenditure. Your exercise, you can see, guys, is only 10%. So for those of you thinking that exercise is the end-all be-all to weight loss and doing lots of cardio, it's false. However, we want to make sure we are getting in an exercise regimen and being consistent with that, because without exercise, studies show that it is harder to maintain your weight after you lose it. So in order for us to lose weight, we have to be in a calorie deficit. In order for us to maintain our weight, we have to make sure that we're in a calorie deficit as well as on a consistent exercise regimen. The thermic effect of food is simply just saying that when we eat certain foods, they will digest faster than others, which that digestion causes us to burn calories, which equals 5 to 10%. Macros, what are they? Your carbs, your proteins, your fats, and your alcohol, okay? A lot of us negate alcohol, which is super important to talk about. So on a nutrition label, in the nutrition label masterclass, when you guys are reviewing that, you guys will understand that depending on the nutrition label, there's going to be a different amount of grams for carbs, a different amount of grams for protein, and a different amount of grams for fats. Alcohol is not shown on a nutrition label. However, in order for us to understand how many calories are coming from carbs, proteins, and fats, we have to understand how many calories are per 1 gram. So as you guys can see here, 4 calories per 1 gram of carb, 4 calories per 1 gram of protein, and 9 calories per 1 gram of fat. This is important because certain foods that have different macros will determine our hunger, will determine on how much muscle we build, and ultimately determine on the consistency with our calorie deficit. To eliminate friction, I only have people track protein and calories because what we found is that protein is going to keep you full. It's going to also help you build muscle. And as long as you're staying consistent with your calories, you are obviously going to lose weight. So to avoid friction, we don't want you guys focusing so much on perfectionism with your fats and your carbs, but rather just making sure that when you eat carbs, generally they're around your training. So pre and post workout nutrition in terms of working out, carbs are going to be really helpful for that. But as well as just making sure that the carbs are clean, mostly complex, and the fats are monosaturated, meaning that they're going to be healthy for us with omega-3s, which generally are healthier for your heart. Now, what does this mean, the 80-20 rule? It just basically means that you want to be consuming 80% whole foods and only 20% of the time having processed foods. The easiest way to determine these are shopping on the perimeter of the grocery store. Those are whole foods. So your vegetables, your eggs, your yogurt, your meats, things like that. And then everything that is in boxes and things like that, with the ingredient labels being large, with all the added stuff, is processed. And so we want to avoid as much processed as possible because it's only going to make us more hungry and it's only going to increase the likelihood of us overeating, which is never a good thing, okay? Most importantly, we do not label food. So although I'm telling you guys this is the guideline, this is the rule, I want you guys to look at food as indifferent and do not start labeling food as good or bad, because I believe that your relationship with food is going to be the most important thing for us moving forward. Okay, food is energy and it should be looked as that. Okay, remember number one. So the 3 rules of success. Remember number 1, you cannot mess up, you cannot fuck up, right? And essentially what that's meaning is that even if you overeat and you have the processed stuff and you're worrying about carbs, worrying about fats, and you're like, oh, Colton, I'm really, really like overwhelmed, just move on to the next day. The power of one more day. Okay. Things to avoid, super salty foods, trans fats, sugary foods, right? High amounts of dairy, processed foods, things like that, okay? As you guys know, the fat loss plating system is going to be custom for you guys. And this is important to know because if you guys get very clear on calories per course, so I'm giving you guys the little calorie markers here, it'll be a lot easier for you to eat away from this. So 500 calorie breakfast, 500 to 600 calorie lunch, same thing with your dinner. And then for your snacks, sticking around the 200 calorie range, and the protein sticking around 120 to 200, depending on if you're using water or you're using almond, oat, or cashew milk. But this is really good to understand that you have little goals within the feedings throughout the day. Okay. Now, most of the time, I like to tell people to have a low-carb breakfast because it's only going to help your energy. Stick to protein with every meal. Eat until you're 80% full. Make sure you have vegetables with lunch and dinner. Only have complex carbs, and make sure you're drinking 80 to 120 ounces of water daily. Okay, lastly, really quick. In order for you to keep yourself accountable, what I like to have people do, and this is also going to be done in Trainerize, so I can go ahead and see that, then I'm going to take that data and put it on your client scorecard. So therefore, you guys understand that. Another thing you guys could do is just get a blank wall calendar and get a green marker and a red marker. And then all the 5 habits that I'm telling you that are going to be helpful for you to lose weight, which are your calories, your protein, your workout, your water, and your steps. Every single time you meet that, take a green marker and make a big green check mark. And then every time you don't, take a red marker and make a red X. And the goal is 24 days out of 30 or 31, which is 80% consistency. And that means that I will also then figure out where you guys need coaching and where you guys need help based on how close you guys are to that 80%. So even if you're at 60, you remember rule number 1, you cannot mess up, right? And just move on, right? And the closer we get to 80, the more results you're going to see, because this is a proven method that I found to work. So hopefully this was helpful, guys. Make sure you guys watch this and take some notes.